I believe you need to do direct mail and get people in front in order to bring them in. And then you need to constantly. What is going on, Megan? How are you?
Good, I am. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. I'm well. Just excited to do this Q&A show. Was working on something for our coaching program, a new training on priority matrix, on how to make decisions. So if you have a lot of stuff, a lot of people have a lot of stuff, what's going on, and they don't know how to prioritize or how to do it. Well, if you remember a while ago, we made that almost like calculator, that spreadsheet that if you plug everything into, will tell you exactly the order of doing it. So I'm building a little training around that right now. So that's going to be Wednesday's training for the people inside the coaching program. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should join the coaching program. Go to jportnoy.com. It has all the ways. Click on the group coaching and let's take care of you. But let's kind of roll. Let's kind of jump into it.
Keep going. Okay. All right. Our first question is from Amanda. What do you think is the most effective strategy when it comes to building brand awareness?
A lot depends. There's a lot of depends in my answer here. Do you have a brand that's direct to consumer and now you're getting sales and now you want to slowly start investing in building that brand out? Is it a new brand and you want to invest in brand awareness and you don't necessarily need the sales right away? So the tactics may differ a little bit, or the strategy may differ a little bit depending on what the goal is and where you're at with the brand. But I will say the best way to do it is using social media marketing. So running ads, posting often, doing joint ventures, of getting in front of different audiences that are your potential customers. That's probably the easiest way is ads. Run ads around and let people know dial in on your messaging, know exactly who your target audience is, know exactly what your brand stands for and the differentiating factors of it, and just push that out. That's brand awareness, because we look at brands right now. Like, we have a lot of brands within the agency that are doing 7 figures plus, and they don't spend any money on brand awareness. They're just so sales driven, which I get. But at some point, in order to scale, everyone talks about MER. That's your marketing efficiency ratio. So how much money, what percentage of your revenue are you spending on marketing? Everyone wants to talk about that, but the way to drive that down is to have a brand, right? You don't look at Apple and Starbucks. Technically, they don't need to spend. They do spend because they can, and they have advertising budgets, and so they have to. But they don't need to spend billions of dollars to educate the consumer or get them to know. Everyone knows Apple and Starbucks, right? They know they exist. So their MER is going to be low. They don't need to spend a ton of money to educate people and bring them in and get them to find out about the brand. Not the same for a lot of people starting. So, that's why we see with e-commerce people, MERs high, for example, especially in the beginning, because no one knows about the brand. But all it is if you're doing 7-8 figures and your MER is still high because you're spending a lot of your percentage of revenue to acquire those customers again, it's just indicative that you don't have a strong enough brand. So I definitely recommend brand awareness campaigns, getting people to understand your messaging. That's not a direct response ad of here, go buy this product, but this is what we stand for. This is what our brand stands for. The problem is most brands don't have that message. They just don't know.
Okay. This one's a little bit different. This is from Alex. So what are your thoughts on toxic positivity?
I love it. I mean, well, what am I going to say about it? Anytime you start with something that starts with toxic, I think we pretty much know it's not a good thing. I think we live in a time where social media brings in a lot of comparisons, and people start comparing themselves to other people, and that's toxic. That leads to such bad behavior because you believe that everyone's winning. You believe that everyone's living a good life. And no one wants to talk about the downside to anything. No one wants to be vulnerable. No one wants to talk about, the struggles that they're going through, whether it's building a business, whether it's, trying to be a good husband or a good spouse or be a good friend while doing something else. Like, no one wants to talk about the downside. Everyone wants to just showcase the highlights of their life. So what does that do? You then go through that dopamine of constantly scrolling and seeing that, and you believe that you need to always be positive. You need to always be that type of person. Now, while I don't think that's a good place to be in, I also think the opposite of just purely being pure, like, hey, everything sucks, everything's just awful right now, is not the right move either. There's a balance, and I think perspective matters. I think you could be okay not being okay, but also still having some perspective on what's going on. And as long as you frame it in the right way of, like, not everything sucks, why do I suck, why is everything breaking, but in terms of what can I learn from this, or what is this trying to teach me? Because you feeding yourself questions like, hey, why is this person ahead of me and I'm so far behind? How come John just got a new Ferrari and I still can't afford one? Those questions have no utility. They provide no, a coach of mine says this all the time, is that if it provides no utility, it either makes you dumber or keeps you back. So the questions you have to ask yourself are questions the brain could actually work on, which is, what am I being protected by not growing as fast as John? Or, what is it that I think I have to let go of? What beliefs do I have to let go of in order to achieve X? Those questions have more of a utility around it, because you could actually start working on solving that, and it's not a negative question. So again, toxic positivity, not a good thing because it's fake. Constant negativity, not a good thing because it will keep you dumb and still. So there's a balance. You have to be okay not being okay, but you have to also, and you don't have to be walking around all the time, but also I think the solution to that is gratitude and perspective. If you could have that, I think you're living a well-balanced life.
Okay. Great. So which do you think is more effective? Email marketing or direct marketing? And this question is from Katie.
What was the email or?
Email marketing or direct marketing?
Both. You know me, Megan. I don't say there's no or, it's and. Mm-hmm. Both. You need both. They both work. They're both different strategies. Which one works better? The answer is both. Which one do you need? The answer is both. Which one should I be testing out? The answer is both. If I had to pick one or the other, it's and both. Look, direct marketing, whether that's direct mail, whether it's direct response ads, whatever it is, that gets people in. That brings people into the funnel. You're going to need that in order to email them, unless you're doing cold email marketing, which is a form of, they were just both. Like, I believe you need to do direct mail and get people in front in order to bring them in. And then you need to constantly keep them within your ecosphere, and email and SMS is the best way to do that. So it's not in one or the other.
It's both.
And not or.
Okay, let's see. That's all our questions, except now it's my turn, my question of the week.
honestly, we were just talking about this offline. I like some of the questions that have been coming in, but your questions have honestly been the best questions. So everyone just pay attention to how Megan asks her questions and ask questions. And it's not a shot at anyone, people wanting help, but the quality of the questions determines the quality of the answers that you get. So if you're stuck in your business and you want help, come here and ask the specific questions on how to get unstuck or how to move ahead or what do I think. But the vanilla, vague questions of email or paid media, which one works better? Like, I could tell you both. I could tell you one or the other. Are you actually going to take that and do something? That's not a tactical question that leads you, that can give you a solution that leads you to moving your business forward. So quality of questions determine the quality of answer. That's all I'll say.
Okay. So my question this week is, how can having a coach or mentor contribute to your personal growth and professional growth?
How can it not? I mean, it's the ultimate cheat code. It's buying back years of mistakes and of potential mistakes and money wasted. I've spent a lot of money on coaching for myself, and it's because I do that I could have my own coaching program and speak so passionately about it, because I don't just coach someone and be like, haha, I got this all figured out. I actually invest way more money than most people spend on a marketing budget for a year. I spend on my own development and getting better for business, getting better for my staff, like you, and getting better for our clients and getting better for myself, better me, better business. And I truly believe that. So whether it's from a business coach or a mindset coach or both or whatever it is, my coach Jordan, greatest athlete of all time, greatest basketball player of all time, had coaches, had Tim Grover, had Lady Gaga, incredible voice, right? Has a vocal coach. Like, who's going to teach Lady Gaga, right? Like, you think about that. But the more successful you get, the more I start being around more and more successful people, whether it's on the podcast or whether it's in communities that I'm part of, or whether I'm speaking at events. I'm just around all these people, and their answer towards how they get to the next level is they have a coach. So you go to the gym, you want a trainer. You start a business, you're going to want a trainer. You want to make sure that you have someone who could give a fresh pair of eyes, that could see things you're not seeing, that could tell you that they've been there and do this. When I started my clothing business, the first thing I ever did, and I didn't even realize I was doing this, it wasn't for this reason. It was just I thought it was cool, but in reality, it was the right move. Was I reached out to Daymond John. Now, I don't think reaching out to Daymond John as your mentor is the right move and is going to work nowadays. But I reached out to him. I read his book and I decided he liked helping young entrepreneurs. I'm like, cool, I'm a young entrepreneur. And I got mentored by him. And it saved me a ton of years of mistakes and ideas that I had. And he's like, let me just save you time. Like, here's how it's going to play out if you go that way. And it just saved me a ton of time. So, I mean, how can having a coach change you or your business? I mean, that's if you're asking that question and you truly don't know how, and it's truly inside you, then I mean, you're not in growth mode, because it's so apparent and obvious. But the problem is, people see the cost associated to it, and they see the cost now and not the potential cost down the road. So they sit there and say, oh, hiring a coach. Like, if I told people how much I pay for just one of my coaches, and I have two, if I tell people how much I paid for just one of those coaches, they would laugh at me. If I tell them how much money I made off one of those coaches, that would be a different story. If I tell them how much money I probably saved in mistakes of coming on and being like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm about to invest X amount of money into doing this. And they're like, no, here's how like, don't do that, put it here instead. And that actually went the way. So it not only made me money, but it actually saved me money and time of going down and then trying to figure it out and scratch my head. Why'd this go wrong? And they could just see it right away. Put a price tag on that and tell me that what I pay isn't worth every single penny. So now, are all coaches like that? No, you have to find one that you like. If you could jump on a call with me and we don't vibe, and it's like, hey, I don't believe you could help me, and I don't believe you'll do the work and actually are coachable, then it won't work, and go find someone else. But I do believe every business owner on the planet should have a coach. I believe everyone on the planet should have some sort of mentor or some sort of person. It's why I started Perfectly Mentored. I want to be mentored, and this is before I had money to hire expensive coaches. I wanted a mentor, so I started a podcast where I could get mentored by some of the best people, and it turned into, okay, well, cool. If I have all these questions, why don't you come along for the ride and you get mentored by, with me? Because chances are I'm asking the same questions that you probably have. So why don't you come listen in, be a fly on the wall in my conversation with a lot of these people. If I'm able to get in the room with them and you're not, then let me share that with you.
And like you said, depending on, I guess, past situations, it could be like buying back years of mistakes have were made. So.
Years of mistakes. I mean, like, yeah. And there are times right now where like let's be fully transparent and honest here, Megan. You and I have had this conversation where it's like I just hired someone else for a different area, and I was debating that, and I was like really debating it. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know, and slowly I'm starting to see different version of myself coming out, and we're like a few months in, but man, like, great decision I made on it. But I debated it, and I know the power of coaching. So I'm human just like everyone else, but I know this is going to save me time. And at the end of the day, that's what I need. And what's the worst case scenario? I spent some money and didn't work, and I'm back to where I was. I'll never be back to where I was. Like, you'll never have a coach that if you actually do the work and listen to, that you'll be worse off before you started.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
That's it.
That's it.
All right. Well, next week, is it next week, Megan? Next week? Let me check this. Next week. Oh yeah. Wow. We have a back-to-back coming up. Next week we switch times. We're now Monday morning. Monday morning, what's the time? We're at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah. So Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time, we're back. So right after this weekend, we're back in it. And then sticking to that time going forward. So thank you all for listening. See you on Monday. Megan, as always, thank you.